How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have En Masse with us tonight. I think I said it right. He can say his name, what he does, and I'll adjust.
I'm Zach, and I sing in En Masse and occasionally throw things at people whenever the
That's
whenever it calls for it.
all right. Well, I don't know. That seems like a very controversial thing. I hope no one's gonna get hurt in the making of doing this interview. So I just want to
No, no,
preface
no.
that nothing is
Safe.
gonna be thrown into the camera. We're
Absolutely.
until 4D comes out, then that's when then you'll get the real like my hands right in your face, but besides that, nothing too crazy. But want to give a shout outs to Tom, my boy. I love him. Arms like roses.
Shout
They're
outs.
awesome. They're shout outs. Big love to Tom. But wanted to know, Zach, I don't know much beyond just listening to your music, but I would love to know how En Masse started. How'd you get your members, and like kind of the whole like origin story of the band?
Word, word. So like back in I want to say 2017, 2018,
Okay.
my original band like pretty much broke up and split up, and I didn't want to stop playing music
As
personally,
yeah.
naturally. So I was just sitting on all these demos and I was like, damn, I really want to do some shit with this. So, my friend Brandon, who drums for En Masse, we were just talking and I was like, hey, like I got these demos, like what do you think of them? I'm trying to start my own project. And he's like, oh, this is sick. Like if you need a drummer, I'm down. So he was in my old band, so naturally,
Sure,
we
yeah.
just ventured off from that. And yeah, since that we started off as a two piece, hit the ground running as a two piece, and then started again as a three piece with our friend Sean from our sister band Lucretia. Shout outs Lucretia, shout outs Michael Terry.
Woo.
And then we slowly started adding members, lost members, gained members, but now we have a solidified lineup with myself, Brandon, PJ, and Josh. So really excited, really stoked that we have a lineup that can stick together and we're all on the same page.
You love to hear it. And then in regards to PJ and Josh and adding them into the band, did you know them from like other bands local to your scene, or were like putting some feelers out there and they're like, yo, this kind of sounds sick. I'm about this. Like, I'd love to join the band.
Oh, it's a little bit of both because the band's from Connecticut and it's not the biggest state in
Yeah.
America, so it's kind of secular and a little incestuous. So, in Math's first show, we played with Josh's old band called
Oh,
Recreant,
okay.
and we had originally asked him like, "Hey, do you want to play bass in the band?" And he couldn't.
Oh,
So, we figured that out, and then later on, we got him to join, and it was like, all right, maybe like right time, wrong place, or vice versa. But I'm glad like it all worked out in the end because I love Josh. He's like an amazing addition. He's a sick bassist, and he's a fucking sick drummer too. Like
ooh,
check out his other band, Burning Hand, hardcore band. If you're into that, check out
okay.
Burning Hand.
I'll have to do it. I'll have to do it. But that's really cool. I always love when bands talk about like their origin story because I don't know. I say this all the time, but I am such a music nerd, so I enjoy
Same,
knowing
same.
how like bands start, how like other bands like initially start out and then kind of go from there. Obviously, I know you're doing vocals, and I joked before about I was asking Zach about what he does, and I said, oh well, I was like, I'm not gonna introduce him as the bass player, and then he was like, oh, actually played bass on these songs, and I was like, so now I feel like an idiot, but like in regards to doing music, like what was your first kind of interaction with like getting into like the like metal alternative sort of scene? Because I feel like whenever artists that I have on, like once you get into the scene, like something about it is just like this aura about it that everybody kind of stays within that bubble, and that's great. I love it.
Absolutely.
But like, what were some of kind of the like precursor bands to just you being like, man, it would be really cool to just start a band and do this shit?
Most importantly, like anybody who knows me, they will tell you my favorite band in the world, hands down, is Deftones. So that was my foray into like heavier music per
Okay.
se,
Yeah.
because my older brother he grew up during like the new metal era, so whatever he was listening to was passed down to me,
Yeah.
and I was learning from my cousin, like all like the more hardcore adjacent bands like Poison the Well, The Bled,
Ooh.
and stuff like that. So that stuff just kind of like, stuck in my brain and kind of like, thread the quilt that is my brain for when it comes to like streaming music. So that was like the starting point, the launching pad for me. And then, I I started playing guitar when I was
Mhm.
18, and across this kid Tyler, who's one of my good friends, and he was like, "Hey, you look like Daryl Palumbo." And I had no experience. We just banged out. It was a good starting point. Your starter band. That's like your teen band, as my friend Finboy would call it. And now like En Masse is my adult band. So I have all this experience now and just walking onto greener pastures and see what's in store for us.
Yeah, no, I've always like because I had a chance to listen to which I'll leave links to their Bandcamp and all that sort of stuff down below. Would highly recommend going to go give it a listen because I was really stoked, and I always try to do my best to check out all the bands that I have on, and I was just like, okay, send me the Bandcamp link, Zach. I'm gonna check it out before we hop on. And I took a listen to Faster, which dropped this month, which is really great. And then Mixtape Nostalgia that came out in July. And I gotta say, when I listened to Faster, because that was the like introduction to your band, I was like, God, this sounds kind of like a mix between like Loathe and like some like Under Oath. I don't know if you've gotten that
Word,
kind of
word. That
vibe.
that is an immense compliment. I love
Okay.
both those bands. So
Okay,
thank you.
great. Because I feel like I feel like, and even too as well. Like I think you also have like this almost like static dress kind of feel too as well. I know they kind of
Well,
again
yeah.
hit that like wave, but there's something about it that I was just like, man, there's like this really great like post-hardcore energy. And I love that you said Deftones because that was definitely another band that I was just like, there's a chance, but I don't feel like it's like a direct like influence. So I was completely wrong on that, which is I'm totally fine admitting that I was wrong on that one.
It's a
But
little bit everything.
it's a little bit of everything, and I love that it's not it has this almost like nostalgia feel to it. Like there's something about it that just like when I was a kid growing up, and well, I guess a little bit older than a kid, but like my teenage years and listening to like a lot of post-hardcore and getting into that scene, um I was just like Under Oath was like one of the bigger bands that I listened to at the time,
Right.
and I was like, man, this has got such a great like that kind of like define like they're only chasing safety kind of like post-hardcore feel to it, but then it's also like modernized with like again a sort of Loathe, a little bit of Static Dress, that kind of vibe. And I think you guys hit that like stride point of a band that I'm always constantly looking for, because
Thank you. Thank you.
that just hits. Like there's something about that, the like those bands within those genres that just hit so well. So I I I feel like personally, if those were the bands that I could speak on in regards to like for fans of, if you like those three bands, then you need to check out En Masse because you're gonna 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Good
Thank you.
looks.
Thank you. Thank you.
But the next question I have for you, Zach, kind of alluded to it a little bit. I know we talked about Deftones as being one of your first like influences and stuff. Are there any other sort of artists that after getting into Deftones and having your cousin and all that stuff get you into more of the hardcore scene? What are some of the other influences that maybe show up in En Masse? The thing that I was asking about was just like beyond Deftones and obviously some of the more like hardcore influences when you were growing up. What are some other influences that you guys have for En Masse in terms of artists?
Well, me personally, as I said, my older brother and my older cousin introduced me to like the heavier side of music, but I
Hmm.
also had my uncle showing me like, I guess I wouldn't necessarily call it heavy, even though you would classify it under metal, but like,
Okay.
stuff like Iron Maiden,
Hmm.
Slayer, Judas Priest. And then I had my other cousin showing me, the golden age of hip hop and rap. So, Dipset, 50 Cent, and all that, G Unit. And there are hints of that
Hmm.
in Mass, at least lyrically for me personally, and the delivery, because there's so many rappers that have an insane flow, and like you can absorb that and apply it to the most extreme of music.
Mhm.
And that's something like that's always resonated with me, and I always try to keep that in mind. It's like I'm not going to go out there and like deliver a line like I'm Zach De La Roca, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, oh, like this rapper would have this sort of cadence to the line.
Mhm.
And I've always tried to utilize that when it came to lyrics for En Masse. And aside from that, there's all sorts of shit all over the place. Like Radiohead is also one of my favorite
Oh.
bands of all time. So stuff like that, Bjork, all that stuff. Like it'd be hard to like tell you all the influence because they all like blend into each other in little intricate ways that only like my crazy ass would get. Like, aha.
Oh my god, yeah. And it's cool for me, like as I mentioned before, it's like there's something about it that, and I love that you mentioned like the hip hop and the rap because I didn't really pick up on it, but now knowing that, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to some M Mass stuff and really kind of like dissect more the like rhythmic ways that you kind of incorporate lyrics or the way that maybe a lyric might flow as opposed to another song or another artist. And so I
Or
love that you're very much wearing that kind of influence on your sleeve because I think that also was another aspect I would say of your music that is really interesting because
yeah.
I think I looked at some of the lyrics and the way that they're kind of like sectioned out on Bandcamp, and I was like, okay, how is he gonna like translate these words into like a phrase like that? And I was pleasantly surprised at like some of the ways that you were able to kind of intricate like those words into a phrase. And I think it just makes it more appealing to me that now that you'd mentioned like like the hip hop and the rap sort of influence, like unbeknownst to I'd imagine to a lot of people, that's really cool. And I would definitely recommend again. I'm gonna keep saying it a lot, but but definitely go check out En Masse. And I feel like again, you guys hit that like post-hardcore and almost like a metalcore kind of fusion, and that's like bread and butter to me. That's like that hits the
Right.
soul. So I absolutely love that. But the next question I have for you, Zach, for people who maybe aren't as familiar with En Masse, much like myself, what song would you recommend to a new listener to check out to kind of give you an idea of what you guys do?
Well, I would probably recommend Faster because that is the last single off our upcoming record due January 13th
Woo!
through Affair Records. And that is also, here's a little bit of lore for you. That is also the first song Brandon, the drummer, and I wrote for En Masse together. Like that
Wow.
song had maybe like one or two rewrites, but that song, in its inception, like that's what it sounded like when we jammed it out in his garage, and we were like, "This is fucking sick." And like out of all the singles we've dropped so far, like even the one we dropped like 2 years ago, like this has been the one that's gotten like I guess I would say hype
Okay. Yeah.
amongst whoever has listened to it, which is really fucking sick and kind of bewildering because our the first single we dropped off, or the second single rather, Mannequin Theory, that we dropped off the record was kind of your traditional pop structure,
Mm,
and you're like, oh, like we're this is sick, like we think like people will like this, and they did, but kind of like teetered off, I'll admit.
sure.
And then we dropped Mixtape, and the reception was kind of whatever. And then we dropped Faster, which is not conventional songwriting by any means.
Yeah.
At least like in the post-hardcore sense, like yeah, that makes fucking sense. But like when you apply it to like pop structure and all that, no. But people fucking thought it was really sick, and that makes me really fucking happy. Considering that's like one of the oldest in mass songs that exist right now.
I can't chill for that song enough. That one was and I argue probably part of that is because it was the first song I listened to, and I was just like, man, it goes right out the gate, and it goes like straight to the end. And I absolutely love that. I'll have to go back and listen to some of the other songs because now that you had pointed out like the pop structure and stuff, I think that that's really cool. I always find that like especially over this past like year or two, I noticed like a shift between like the metal and like the post hardcore and like the kind of alternative scene where now like pop music is okay. I remember there was a time frame where like
Yeah.
people were like, no pop, man. Can't listen to pop. Like it's
Yeah, now
like
you got like
Guardian. you know?
yeah, you got like dudes like in the heaviest bands ever posting like freaking Beyonce on their
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah.
stories. Like I don't know if it's like, like, hey, I don't always listen to heavy music sort of thing, but like, there's also some genuine aspects to that. So, yeah, like pop can be cool, pop
Oh
structures
yeah.
can be cool, you just make it sound right, make it sound good.
Yeah, I think it's just how you kind of work it, and I think a lot of bands have kind of latched onto that sort of thought process of like incorporating some like pop structures or the way that they kind of maybe like write lyrics or like the way that they kind of maybe arrange the song in a way that might seem more interesting to like the average listener. And I also think it's hilarious that like bands like Counterparts will like talk about like K-pop and all this other shit. And I think it's great because it would be a thing that again, if I listened to Counterparts, that would probably be the last artist or kind of genre of music that I'd be like, yeah, they listen to that on a daily basis, like, and I think it's great. I definitely feel like it's something that is needed and like I don't know, there was just this large stereotype or like gatekeeping where you're like, you can't listen to non-metal music. I'm just like, yeah, you can. It's like totally
Yeah, you
fine.
can.
Yeah,
There's
why
no
not?
fucking rules.
There's no rules.
Like for like that certain like subgenre, whatever you want to call it, like they have that punk ethos, but they also have these fucking hidden rules to it, which kind of defeats the purpose. And it's like, what the fuck do you stand for? You're telling people what to do. That's the complete like antithesis to like the fucking music you
Yeah.
play, which is hilarious. And irony falls on deaf ears, but
Oh yeah, and I'm like I said, I'm glad that it's more of a thing that just is more natural within the scene, and I think it just makes again
yeah,
the music more cohesive, more sound, and it's only gonna get better with age. So I'm hoping that bands really kind of latch onto the sort of pop at least mentality slightly. Doesn't have to be a whole 100%. I get that, but just like don't be afraid to dabble in a little pop. That's my pro tip for today. But the the next question I have for you, Zach, is speaking about artists you've been listening to lately. What have you been listening to? I know it's the end of the year. You're actually, ironically enough, my last interview of the year. So kudos.
yo, let's
Thank you,
go,
thank you.
yeah,
We've made it to the end of this year of
made
2022.
it, we made it.
But what have you been jamming recently? I know a lot of people have been posting their like albums of the year. You don't if you want to care to divulge what's on your list this year, that'd be awesome. But what are some of the artists you've been listening to lately?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there has been a ton of good records
Oh
released
yeah.
this. Like whatever people were cooking up during like the start of the pandemic and all of last year, like they came out the gates swinging with whatever they had.
Oh,
And
100%.
as of lately, well, I'm gonna start off, with my probably like my album of the year,
Okay,
and
okay.
I might be a little biased because the drummer from this band actually produced the En Masse record, and he's also like a good friend of mine. His name's Adam. His band Gatherers released their third
Ooh.
LP called Mutilator. And you said you're a fan of like Static Dress and Loathe, and like if you like all that, if you like In Mass, you will love Gatherers. Like this new record of theirs is phenomenal. The dedication put into it, not even just the songs itself, but like the artwork and the aesthetic and all that. And they're a hardworking band too. They've been around for a while, and I've loved them since I heard their second LP back in 2018,
Yeah.
which was my album of the year. So they're 2 for 0 right now.
2 for 0,
Shout out to the
baby.
champs. But yeah, that record it just really hit me, and I was so excited to listen to it and digest it on my own time. And they're just a really good band. Adam's an insane producer, an insane drummer. He produced that album all by himself,
Mm,
and I think somebody else may have mastered it. I don't know their name. Um, I can't recommend that album enough. So definitely
yeah.
check it out. Gatherers Mutilator. As far as that, like my other albums of the year, just other get I guess stuff within that realm of like post hardcore or whatever. Like I'm not gonna like sit here and be like, oh, like my favorite record of the year was a rap record. Like it wasn't. there were some good rap
Sure,
records for
sure,
sure,
sure.
like
Yeah.
Rome Steele's and Lloyd Banks. But Mood Ring, Stargazer,
Yes. Oh,
that is a phenomenal album. Like that album is so fucking good. And like I know people want to be like, "Oh, this sounds like Deftones," but I feel like that aspect of that band overshadows the fact that that record is really good.
oh, it's fantastic.
And that's been on repeat. Um the Fleshwater LP that just came out, We're Not Here to Be Loved, also really good. And just whatever else within that realm, like Vein. And
Yeah.
then
Oh my God.
God, I can't think of anything else because I've just been listening to those records like back to back, like in a constant rotation.
Yeah, I did see shout outs to Gatherers. They've been on the channel before. It was a little ways ago, but that was back when their second or their first LP came out. I have it in my record collection. I'll go get it later or something. But I everybody I've seen they've had it on their list, and as most people know, I'm in crunch time mode. Like I'm going to be going, well, as of recording today, I will be going live to talk about my EPs and albums of the year tomorrow. So, but I am just like, I'm kind of like you where I'm just like, oh my God, there's so many albums that came out this year that it just makes my life more difficult. And I think with each year, whenever it comes down to this time, I'm just like, I literally have to go till the like final minute of 2022 or whatever year it is. And I have to like listen to as much shit as I can to kind of like
It's
throw it on my
hard.
list.
Hard
But
to keep up.
it's so hard. So I definitely will do that in the new year. So guys, you can you'll check out my live review of that eventually. I'm trying to do some in January. Not to plug myself at all in this interview, but I feel like that's a band I have to check out Mutilator. I know everybody's been talking a ton about the album, so I have to give it the due justice. But I can speak about the Mood Ring album, and that is just like that's like the perfect like I don't even know. I feel like it's just like alt metal. It has like this like dark pop kind of influence. Like the way that they structure songs, the vocalist, like he's got such a like great
Yeah,
voice, and
Hunter
so
is a phenomenal vocalist. He's
oh
really fucking good. I'm like listening to it, like, damn, how the fuck did he do that?
yeah. He he's got such a great voice, and then just like I love that like it just got this real kind of like dark pop feel, but then it's got like probably like 7 or 8 string guitars where they're just riffing, and it's
Oh
just
yeah,
like
I think like that stuff is like in drop A or something like that. Like the heaviest in your face fucking riffs. And it's really fucking sick, you know. Like I said, I feel like that Deftones comparison is gonna overshadow them a little bit because like I can hear some other stuff in there,
oh
like Year
yeah.
of the Rabbit, which is like the side project of the dude from Failure.
Mhm.
So they have those spacey elements that don't necessarily just belong to Deftones, you know. And they combine it with the heavier stuff that you would hear like I guess like on a Vane record
Oh
or
yeah.
wherever else.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that band if you have not checked out Mood Ring. Definitely need to do that. No spoilers, but it might be on that list of the albums of the year this year. So just I want to preface my video before it happens, but it's definitely up there for sure. But let us know in the comments if there's another album I should check out because there's so many that came out last year, and I feel like I'm always slacking every year. So give me some
You and
good
me both, man.
recommendation. But the next question I have for you, Zach, if there was a song you guys could cover as En Masse, is there any songs on the list that you'd like to cover?
Oh man, that's such a hard question because like any cover would be too on the nose. Like people would just roll their eyes and be like, "Of course they're covering that," and that's just so hard. But I'm gonna pick two answers.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm gonna pick a obvious answer and then I guess a
Curveball.
not so obvious, yeah, curveball.
All right, all right.
I would cover
Respect.
like any Deftones song off of Around the Fur,
Oh,
probably like Lotion or something.
whoo. Okay, okay.
Um, and my second non-obvious one would probably be like a Chromatic song. I don't know if you ever listened to Chromatics, but I fucking
Ooh.
love that band. They broke up sadly, but they're just like dream pop, electro pop. And there's this one song that is like I guess like a sister song to Cherry. It's called Shadow, and it's just like so gloomy and slow and so like slow paced. It'd be sick to like put our own spin on it, but it'd probably end up sounding like fucking Deftones anyway. So I guess the answer still stays the same.
It's just two Deftone songs, guys. I just
Just
want to
two
let you
Deftones
know.
songs.
No, it'd be very cool, man. I would have to hear that. Was it Chrome? Is that what the
Chromatics. Chromatics.
Chromatics? Okay, I'll have to check that one out because I'm not knowledgeable in that department, so I will have to give that one a listen. But if I think it's good, post Brandon will say two thumbs up, go do it. If not, then post Brandon will do something. But I love the Deftones idea. I know that's gonna seem like very played into the specifics of the question, but I think you guys would absolutely smash a Deftones cover. I think that would be kind of tight. So
It
I
would
don't
be
know.
very.
That's my 2 cents. Either that, or I feel like you could do like a top 40 song and just like make it like dumb heavy. Like
I would love to cover Third Eye Blind. Like I would love to cover Graduate and make that shit sound like the
woo.
used or some
All
shit.
right, all
Like
right, all
that would
right.
be so fucking fun.
I think that would I think if we had a third horse in the race, I think I got to go with the third one. That would be really cool. I think that might be our winner here. I don't
Third
know.
Eye Blind, one of the best bands in the world.
You're right. They got all the hits.
All the hits.
I went back and looked at their like discography, not recently, but I went back and looked at it and I was just like, God, I know so many of these songs. How many hits that they've had on the radio as a band. They're just like they're consistent. So you gotta love it.
Very consistent. They're not afraid to experiment because that second record fucking slaps. Like
Ooh,
I know everybody
right.
wants to talk about the first record that has all the hits, Semi Charm Life, and all that shit. But that second record is so fucking good, and like just the things they did, I'm like, why the fuck did they do this? Like they could have just made like hit after hit and call it a day. But like I don't know. I feel like if I could compare that second record from Third Eye Blind to like a modern day record, I'd probably say like the Turnstile record, like Cole On.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I feel like there's some there's some intersection there.
Oh yeah.
So like if I had to like show like one of the young kids and be like, hey, check this band out. It sounds like Turnstile. They're either gonna be like, hey, this is sick, or they're gonna be like, hey, don't ever show me anything again.
Yeah, it's like you got a 50-50 split on that. But I do agree, like that second record is so diverse, and like you said, the first album everybody's gonna know because it's got like the hits, it's got all the jams on it. Not to discount that record at all because that also slaps, but the second record, I feel like most people are missing out on it. So
Yeah, nobody thinks about it, but it's really fucking good.
you got to go give it a listen. And also Turnstile, shout outs, they're
Fast
fantastic too. Congrats on the Grammy nomination. That's what we need for the scene. Like they're probably like the biggest band within the scene right now. So we gotta take the W's where we can. So guys, if you
Still, they're
you know,
paving the way right now,
I'm waiting.
whether
I'm
you
waiting.
like it or not.
I'm waiting for just a surgence of just a bunch of like hardcore bands now. I'm just waiting for it. Like young kids getting into hardcore music. Chef's kiss.
It's happening. They're running the scene, man. Like you'd be surprised. Like kids born when I was like in fourth grade, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I love Gorilla Biscuits." I'm like, "What? All right,
Yeah,
cool, sick.
yeah, it's like, go off, man. Go off. Like I respect that.
Do your thing." You know?
It's like when you listen to like alternative music, people will be like, "Yeah, that shit sucks." Like, and then you get bullied or some shit. And now it's cool to like
It's a cool
hardcore
thing,
music.
yeah.
So
Like
listen,
you're not cool if you're not listening to hardcore.
we've
Like
been
you're the fucking weirdo.
listen, we're all I'm gonna say is collectively, if you're old, if you're under the age, or if you're over the age of like 25, I feel like you've made it. We're here.
This
We've gone through the shit only to be on top. There is so much shit we had to go through, and now we're living. So
we're
I'll
here.
take
We're
it.
still here, baby.
I'll take it. I'll take it. No L's here. No L's here. But the next question I have for you, Zach, another fun one. What is your favorite food to eat?
Oh, that's so easy. All right. No, I'm gonna give you. multiple answers because I can't do this single answer at all.
You're like,
I
it's easy, but then you're like, let me give you like 20 answers.
let me give you 20 answers. First and foremost, pizza. That's just like who doesn't fucking like pizza?
East Coast, baby, you know?
Coast Beast
Represent.
Coast. You can't go wrong with pizza. I'm from New York. I grew up with pizza.
Best slice. Best slices,
Best
New York.
slice.
You're
Best
right.
slice.
You're right.
Any of that other shit is
Amen.
fucking whack. Connecticut pizza is fucking trash. I don't care what anybody says. That shit is fucking
All
trash.
2 people in Connecticut that watch my videos are going to be very upset you said that.
I know they're gonna be in the comment section like you fucking loser. Uh, but second one, so we can move on quickly, is there's this restaurant in Middletown, Connecticut called Ion, and they have this chicken parmesan um sandwich. It's vegan. I'm vegan, but
Ooh.
it's this chicken parmesan thing, and it comes with a side of sweet potato fries, and it's probably one of the best things I've ever tasted in my life. So shout outs to Ion in Middletown.
Oh.
Out to the chicken parmesan. That's my
Woo. Respect. Oh. Man, that sounds delicious. I'm all about that. I'm not vegan myself, but I dabble a little bit.
dabble. There's nothing wrong with dabbling.
Listen, I love if a vegan meal. If I didn't know if they like served it up to me and then they didn't tell me it's a vegan restaurant and I just ordered it like I normally order food and it came to me and I ate it and I'm just like, damn, this shit slaps. Who fucking cares? I don't care if it's vegan or not. That in
It's
fact, it's
that's
probably better
right.
for me anyway.
Exactly.
I'll
You're
I
doing your part.
I'll take the dub, that's I'm living healthy and it fucking slaps. Oh, great.
There you
Can't can't,
go.
can't complain.
Best day ever.
But if you're ever in Philly, Zach, I would definitely recommend Blackbird. I don't know if you've ever been
I've
there or
heard
not.
about it. I've heard about it.
That, as a meat eater myself, if I had did not tell you that it was a vegan spot, I don't think most people would know. I didn't know. Like I had like a cheesesteak. I was like, damn, this shit slaps. I'm like, bro. I'm like, how does this vegan? Like I had to like I almost like instinctively went up to the guy and be like, is this vegan? Like it does not
That's
taste
how you
vegan.
know it's so good.
Yeah. And then he
I've
would have been
always
like, I
had
get
those
this
moments.
all.
I'm
He's
like,
like,
is this real meat?
then they're like, "Yeah, we get this all the
Nah,
time,
dude. Yeah.
So I'll have to check out if I'm ever up in Connecticut. I'll have to check
I
out Ion.
Middletown.
I'm waiting. Ion. I know you sponsored this interview, so respect to you. But would love to have that chicken parm. Like just like Uber Eats to my door. That'd be chef's kiss. Would love it. But you know that's I'm waiting for the bag. So call me up. Uh, the next question, Zach, is a fun music question. If you were to have a dream collaboration on an up and coming En Masse record, who would you love to have on?
uh, there's lots of people, honestly, and like I wouldn't pick anybody notable. It'd probably be like
Oh,
more towards my friends. Like, um, going back to Arms Like Roses, their singer Estelle is just like a phenomenal singer, and like I would love to just like have her on a little screamo duet, I
hey,
guess.
love
but
it.
also this band called God's Eyes that we've played a lot with. We actually did like a 2 day kind of thing while Arms Like Roses was on tour and God's Eyes was on those 2 days. So Nick from God's Eyes also like a fucking insane vocalist. Like I would love to like have him on a song. And then this lesser known dude called like Chino Moreno, like I would love to have him on a song.
I was like, oh, I if he does not say Chino Moreno, I'm gonna be
There's too many people, man. Like Jeff Rickley, Daryl Palumbo, literally all the legends, all the
the legends.
legends.
Okay, okay. Well, guys, listen. I don't want to tell you what to do because that's not cash money here on Audio Addiction. But I can suggest stuff, and this is what I want you to do, or whatever. You can do what you want, but just saying, it's the realm out the realm of possibility. It's out there. So what I want you to do is go on to Twitter.com. I want you to also tag En Masse, and I want you to tag Deftones, Glassjaw, Arms Like Roses, God's Eyes, and then just say collab question mark. And then, that's like, I wouldn't know. I'm not in a band, but I would imagine it's kind of like the bat signal, where like they put the we're gonna be putting the En Masse logo up into the sky, and then like everybody kind of forms around it, and then they just create this sick like collab track. I can't confirm or deny. I didn't. I don't know that's how it works, but that's what I'd imagine as being a simpleton. I just believe that that's how
That's
music
the way it
collaborations.
works.
So
That's the way it
so
works.
if you want to make it happen, you go do that. Don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say I didn't warn you. But
Power of suggestion.
power is suggestion. So you could totally make a difference. In all of these bands' lives, and I know you want to. Deep down in your heart, you want to do that. So let's make that happen. And then don't tell me I told you so. So keep an eye out. Collab track coming in 2023. So
It's gonna be the best thing you've never heard.
yeah, it's gonna be the best thing that you're waiting to hear. See, that's the
There
difference.
you go. That's the difference.
It's the mindset. So
That's the
guys,
big brain galaxy.
galaxy brain action here. So I'm trying to force that. Not force the opinion, but just subliminally put that in your head. So you want to make it happen, be real cool of you. But the next question I have for you, Zach. Obviously, you do vocals. You play a little. You dabble in the bass. If there's another musical instrument you would like to master, what would it be?
Oh, I feel like this is like any. Well, I don't know now because everybody's good at fucking everything nowadays. But for me personally, like it'd be drums. Cause like
Oh yes.
I'll look at drummers. And, like I've always loved like drums and drummers. Like drummers are the backbone of a band.
Oh
Like
yeah.
drummers make a mediocre band sound good, which is the case for En Masse. Just kidding. We're fucking sick. but
Respect,
um,
respect, respect.
but drums, yeah. I would love to master drums and be able to do at least half the shit Brandon's able to do because like Brandon plays in a million other bands and he's always filling in. Like he's such a super fucking talented drummer and like he'll just come up with shit on the fly or he can learn a song on the fly. I'm like, dude, like how the fuck can you do that? I want to do that.
Show
And
me.
like
Yeah.
the only thing I can really do is besides like a simple 4/4 punk beat is like kind of play like "Girls Are Not Great" by AFI, and that's just the beginning of the song into like I guess the verse, and that's it. That's where my drum mastery is at, and it's like probably not even accurate. So definitely drums. Like I need to like sit down for a week and just like wail on the drums and come out not knowing anything at all.
I feel that as a resident air drummer in my car, people see me,
Oh yes.
they probably think I have like Tourette's or something. But my God, I feel like I can lay it down on the air drums, but that talent does not translate onto an actual kit. So I feel you on that, Zach. I wish I could play drums or just like have any sort of rhythm whatsoever. That'd be great. So, guys, Brandon, my, not Brandon of En Masse, because he's clearly a higher specimen of Brandon. Can't
He's the
compete.
top Brandon.
He's
The
top
top
Brandon. I'm like kind of mid tier. The mid tier Brandons like interview bands, and like the high tier Brandons are being musicians and stuff. But I would love to get better at being more rhythmic. So maybe that's my goal for next year is be more
There you go.
rhythmic.
Do it up. Anything is possible.
Listen, I'm
Most
just
things
gonna,
are
I'm
possible.
gonna, I'm gonna Skype your Brandon and be like, yo, listen, as a fellow Brandon, I need to get my like rhythm game chops up. And he's like, he like already knew. He's like, I already knew you were going to come here. He's like,
I was
I
waiting
had a vision. I hope he watches that, and then get some random video call, and he's like, "I've heard you were looking for me," and then then it would be like some sort of like movie scene, and I'd be like, "Yes, I have been looking for you. I'd love to get my rhythm game up," and he's like, "You've come to the right place," and then we bow, and then the training begins. So I imagine,
clear the way.
we'll have to do it on our very limited movie budget here at Audio Addiction, but it'll happen eventually. But the uh the next question I have for you, Zach, is my personal favorite. as you can tell here, I'm a huge nerd, so I love asking the question: if you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Oh, super fucking easy question. Dante from Devil May Cry. That's my answer.
Oh,
Final answer.
love it. That's the
That's
Devil May Cry
like
series.
one of my favorite series of all time, and like I played 1 through 5 religiously, and like I know the lore, and like even when 5 came out, like I still play it from time to time. Like I'll play Bloody Palace just like kill time and do something with my hands. But in my head, I'm like, yes, fucking triple S all day, every day, baby.
I'm just waiting for an En Masse like Devil May Cry like merch rip. I'm just waiting, you
That's
know.
actually a really fucking good idea. Like I would run that by Brandon because Brandon's also like a video game nerd, and he'd be like, "That's fucking sick." So
Listen,
thank
I'm
you,
just saying.
Brandon. Thank you for the idea. We're gonna steal it and not credit you, as we do in the music world.
I listen. I don't that I would gladly take that L if I knew that that merch item could exist. You know,
That would fucking go hard. Now that I
go.
think about it. Like I imagine in my head because like I've designed like all the artwork and all the shirts from it for En Masse like since its inception, and like I'm just thinking like the logo with the chick at the end with holding the guns. I'm like, yo, this is fucking sick. So I'm gonna have to jot that down in our little idea book.
Glad I could offer up a suggestion. You know, I'm glad that I could offer the suggestions to like En Masse could run. You know, I'm just the stepping
There you
stone to
go. There you
to you
go.
know. So I'll take that L, but it's not an L for long. You know, that's all I'm gonna say. So,
You'll
but
get the shirt. You'll get the shirt.
thank you.
First person.
Woo! Love it. Love it. All right. The next question I have for you, Zach, getting back to the music stuff. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, including En Masse, who would be on it?
Um, I would say, damn, that's that's a hard question, but like I'm gonna pick like newer bands.
Okay.
So I definitely pick like Static Dress, Gatherers, and then I don't know. I would want to like dark horse pick my friend Mark's band St. James,
Ooh.
who are Connecticut locals, and they have an EP that's really good. It's like his favorite band, I guess, is like Wilco. So if
Oh
you like
shit. Okay.
Wilco and
Yeah.
like the National and stuff like that, that's what they sound like. A little bit like Grant Lee Buffalo, but like I would pick them, just to have like that palate cleanser, like the
Ooh.
softer
All
before
right.
like the next three bands are just like in your face and your ears are bleeding. But yeah, them obviously Arms Like Roses. We've been trying to set up something for a little while now, so maybe that's actually realistic as opposed to like in mass opening for Deftones all across all 7 continents in the world.
Listen, we're gonna plug Chano Moreno and Deftones as much as possible. You know, we need the just the subliminal like the advertising. You know, I know.
Put the bug in his ear,
Yeah, I know Chino Moreno just watches my stuff. Shout out to Chino. Thank you for watching, of course. You
shout,
know, much
you know,
love. You know, I'm glad you just check out my, YouTube channel. It's much appreciated, you know. Would love to have Deftones on, at some point, but it would be great if he actually like we tag him.
anything is
Listen,
possible.
anything's
Anything is
possible. He might
possible.
be
At least
he
one member. You could aim for lowest. You go for Frank, the turntablist, the DJ. Anything's possible.
Frank's just like keyword searching Chino Moreno and he's just like, "Hey, so I found this
Like when's it
interview."
my turn?
And then he like finds this interview. He's like, they said your name like 60 times in this interview. So obviously there's something that's of importance here. And then he just sends it to and he's like, yo, this channel's sick. Check him out. That's what I hope, That's what I dream about.
It's gonna be like the new version of Back to the Future where he like holds up the phone, like, "Oh, you gotta listen to this," but instead of some dude shredding on guitar, just us talking about like how much we love Deftones.
I love it.
That's gonna be the W for En Masse.
I listen. That's all I'm out here trying to do is get bands the biggest W's, for next year. So if we can,
Absolutely.
guys, listen. I told you earlier you can help out. There's still time. The door is not closing. Just saying, it's there. Just suggestion. Just a little
All it
suggestion.
takes is a couple 15 DMs.
from 15
So
different people.
two alternate accounts.
Just,
Exactly.
you know, if he blocks
Totally
you,
different people.
if he blocks you on one account, just make a new one and then just keep DMing. Don't just don't actually do
We
that. I
have the
don't.
bot farms for
The bot
it.
farm. Oh my God, that's great. I love it. But well, in the off chance that Jano does watch this, we love Deftones. Please, you know, listen, En Masse, Deftones collab, 2023. You know, I'm just saying, it's out there. You know, I feel it. I feel
Out
the
there, putting it
aura.
out into the air.
Yeah, the energy, you know. So, guys, let's make it happen. But the next question I have for you, Zach, speaking about, you know, great bands, what are some bands that you've seen live that you're just like, my God, they put on such a great live performance?
Definitely any band that has a good stage presence where they're not just standing around and playing the songs and that's it. Thank you, good night. But personally, the best bands I've seen, at least one that comes to mind, is Vane.
Ooh.
Their live shows are fucking insane. Like, it's all high energy, and their sets aren't super long. They're like 20, 25 minutes, so it's all in your face. There's no like breathing room between like them playing all their fucking banger ass songs and then like everybody around you is fucking killing each other. So
Yeah,
definitely
it's true.
Bane, like probably one of the best live bands I've seen. And then going back a little further, I would say Dillinger Escape Plan. That's like the pinnacle for like live shows. Like, it kind of like, there's like a double-edged sword with being known as the band that does crazy shit live, but when you're in the crowd experiencing it for like the first time, you're just like, what the fuck is going on? This is utter chaos, and like this fucking rules. And that was my initial reaction when I saw Dillinger Escape Plan for the first time. So shout out to Dillinger, RIP, we miss you. Coincidentally, they played like their last three shows like 5 years ago to this date, I think, or like
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
there for one of them. I was at Terminal 5, and it was just like such a bittersweet thing. And I was just like, dude, this is so insane. Like, I wanna not emulate that, but be a part of that. And I think in Mass, definitely, we definitely go for 100 whatever show we play. Like, we could be playing to like 5 people, but we're still playing our heads off. And like people come up to me like, "How do you have so much energy?" And I'm like, "I don't."
It's just a front.
It's just like pure adrenaline and like pure rage. Like whatever I'm mad about. Like I stubbed my toe earlier today, so I'm just gonna use that to fuel like the next 20 minutes. But it's fun. It's fun. Definitely like incorporating stage presence into our live performance, because like that's like half the battle. Like the music kind of comes second nowadays.
Mhm.
Like it's all about like your live show, because like if you're a fucking stage potato, nobody's gonna remember you. Like I remember like reading something or somebody told me like um your the crowd's first reaction to you is the second you walk on stage. So it's like, I try to keep that in mind. Like it might be exaggerated a little bit, but it's like, first song in, first count in of the
Oh yeah.
song, like go fucking ballistic, because even if nobody likes us, they're gonna remember us. And that's like the mindset I have.
I no, I agree with that. I started seeing shows like in the early to mid 2000s. So like, you know, I'm old. So you know,
Me too, man.
I've
Me
seen some
too.
I've seen some shit,
I'm
you know.
old in like hardcore years. I'm 27, but I might as well be fucking decrepit and
Oh yeah.
fucking
I'm gonna
dust.
I'm gonna come to the next show and with like a cane, you know, and be like, "Oh, thank you, Sonny, for opening the door for me,"
Yeah,
you
but
know.
when you hear that bell hit, you're gonna
Yeah,
start
when you
swinging
hear the
that
bell
cane at
hit,
all the
that
Zoomers.
cane's coming out as a weapon, you know. No, I really feel like I was so lucky to be in that era of like, you know, like the early to mid 2000s, like late 2000s worth of music, and obviously still in it very much now. But there was something special about that time period of music, and I love that you mentioned like Dillinger and Vane and those bands, because both of them, kudos, they're fantastic bands, and if you haven't checked those guys out, go do it. It's great. But I love when bands, because I very much am a show goer, and I just enjoyed just the experience and the aura of a live show. And when I see a band that's just like really fucking enjoying themselves on the stage, like whether it's just like they're being a bunch of goofballs and they're just doing a bunch of crazy shit, or they're just like the energy level is like over 9,000, like that's what really gets me hyped. And I think it's like you said, Zach, like just where it reminds you of like, okay, this band, like, regardless if I like the music or not, like, I'm gonna remember that show. Like, I'm gonna remember that band because they put on
Exactly.
that type of show. So I'm glad that you guys can keep with that mentality, and obviously hope to see En Masse in Pennsylvania here in 2023. More
Absolutely.
specific,
We'll make it happen.
Philadelphia. Um, but yeah, I absolutely love that, like, just brutal live energy. And obviously I get a little afraid of being crowd killed, but also the same point, that's just because I have like camera gear and I would preferably not like to spend like $3,000 on new camera gear. But comes with
Understandable.
comes
Understandable.
with it comes with the territory. So
It does. It does.
so I'll take the L if I have to lose my camera. I would, obviously prefer that to not happen, but shit happens, and everybody's like, everybody's a sweetheart in the scene. So I feel like if someone hit me, they'd be like, "Dude, are you okay? Are you all
Do you
right?
need a cup of
Yeah.
water,
You need a
orange
cup of water?
slice?
Yeah, orange slice. All right, champ. We go here. We're gonna pick you up again." Meanwhile, my legs are like giving out. I'm like, oh. I just need to sit down. No, I absolutely love that, and I hope that again I get to see En Masse this year, because just kind of talking with you about your live shows and how you kind of want to bring that, just that like Dillinger esque energy, or like a Let Live, that type of energy. I'm all
Yeah.
about it. I'm all about it. So the next question I have for you, Zach: favorite TV show, favorite movie.
Favorite TV show, favorite movie. So hard. Like I hate these like single answer questions so much. But what comes to mind recently for TV shows? I would say Mindhunter. It was on
Ooh,
Netflix. I
okay, okay.
think David Fincher created it or he directed it or something like that. And that was like supreme writing in my opinion. Like I was on my toes and like I kind of like have a thing for like those kind of like macabre detective shows.
Okay.
Like True Detective, the first season, that fucking show is phenomenal. Like I love that. Like I was waiting every week for a new episode to come out. So yeah, Mindhunter and True Detective. That I'm gonna combine those two answers because they're both detective shows dealing with the same
Fair
shit.
enough.
Favorite movie. I'm gonna be like a little emo, a little on the nose. I would say Donnie Darko, probably like one of my
Ooh.
all-time favorite movies. And I know it gets like a rep for being like like it gets lumped in with the hot topic sphere of like dark and gloomy, but it, like beyond surface level, there's a lot of themes in that movie that really resonated with me, and it was really interesting. It's a little complex. It's it's not too complex. Like if you watch it, like I would say twice, you'd be like, oh, I get it. But like I've watched that movie so many times, and like each time is just the same feeling of like, wow, like this is such a terrific movie, terrific film. It's like pure Kino, as the files would say. But yeah, definitely Donnie Darko for sure, all time favorite movie.
I would agree. It's a classic movie. If you have not seen Donnie Darko, it's not the first time it's been referenced here on the channel, so it's a classic movie you need to go see if you haven't. I've personally seen it a handful of times, and I haven't seen it recently, so maybe I'll have to go back and watch it again. But yeah, that's great, and I'll have to check out True Detective and all the other show you mentioned, because, or Mind Hunters, is that what's
Yeah,
the other one?
900.
I'll have to check those out, because I do like a good, like, like a little bit of a brain teaser, so I'll have
No,
to.
no, definitely watch True Detective first because that first
Okay.
season, like, oh shit, this is fucked up.
That should be their slogan. Oh shit, this is fucked up. And then just have your name,
Literally.
and then be like the vocalist of En Masse. So guys, listen, we can make that a reality too. I don't know how, people know people, so let's let
Everything's connected. It's a small world.
let's get Zach on a True Detective. I don't know if they're still making that show or not, but listen,
I'll
Just get him
gladly
on there.
play somebody that gets shot in the head within like the first 10 seconds of episode. That would be my claim to fame, not
Uh,
my fucking post-hardcore band.
guy who gets shot in the head, also vocalist for post-hardcore band and oh well,
Have a fucking episode.
I hope it's the inverse, you know? I hope people say like the vocalist of En Masse and also, you know,
Extra
man
and
gets
true
shot. Yeah.
detective.
Listen, I would respect that. That would be a big dub, you know? I'll take that.
Absolutely. I'll take that HBO check. Like,
Let's go. Let's go. HBO, where we at, you know?
where we
Things
at?
where we at? Slide in the DMs. We'll get it sorted. But the next question I have for you, Zach, if you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was only one record you could bring with you to listen to, what album would it be?
Man, heart on my sleeve answer, influence on my sleeve answer. It's gonna be like Around the Fur. Just because like how angry that record is, how much aggression and not give a fuck attitude, I think it would give me like enough motivation to try to survive being on a deserted island by myself and not let like all my intrusive and obsessive thoughts like fucking ruin me before like a jaguar does. But yeah, I would pick that record, like ultra beyond Tom Hanks Castaway. I'm like fucking hunting, gathering, trying to make a boat so I could get off the island
you'd be going you'd be
while
going
listening to
hardcore.
fucking like Head Up. Absolutely fucking ape shit. Like fucking Tarzan. I would train monkeys to be my army.
I
And
love
we'd
it.
all just be an army listening to fucking Deftones.
I love it. That's that's such a great. You just create this. You create this squad.
It's a great idea. The whole fucking squad, the ape escape squad.
Respect. I love it. That's great. And then in regards, because obviously I know you're a huge Deftones fan, is Around the Fur your favorite? Because I know a lot of people, swear by White Pony, that being, one of the arguably one of the best Deftone records. I'm not in either camp, so I don't want to say, I'm not shilling for either team here, but you know,
I'm That's hard to say. It's definitely like the top three. I wouldn't say
fair.
it's my top one though. Um, I will argue with anybody, and like people. Like White Ponies is like a phenomenal record, and it changed everything in heavy music. Whether
Oh
you
yeah,
want to admit it or not, like literally just spawned all these fucking rip off bands and bands that copy that sound. Um, so I get it why people would pick that, but my number one, I guess, would probably be like Koi no Yokan. I feel like that is objectively like their best record songwriting
ooh,
wise.
okay,
Like, and then Saturday Night Wrist would be my second. So Koi no Yokan, Saturday Night Wrist, and Around the Fur. I feel like Around the Fur was like I said, that aggressive album that kind of separated them from like the shit that was happening at the time, like Corn and all that fucking shit. They're like, yo, fuck new metal. We're not getting lumped in with that. And then they went even beyond White Pony, then self-titled, and then Saturday Night Wrist is where like they had that like tumultuous time in the band where like they're about to break up and all that shit, and like that record was all over the place. But like that kind of like solidified them as like the Radiohead of metal, I guess, with all the
sure, yeah,
experimentation on that record and like them incorporating like shit you would see in like the offshoot genres like like mathcore and stuff like time signature wise,
yeah.
stuff like that. And then moving on to like Diamond Eyes, probably also one of their best records songwriting wise, tied with like Koi no Yakan. You could sense that like togetherness songwriting
Mhm.
wise. You can tell like they all like were bouncing off of each other and just created these insane records that will definitely like hold up till the end of time. So definitely like Kono Khan, Saturday Night Rest, and Around the Fur for sure.
I would agree. I love I love their variation. I really feel like eventually at some point, I want to kind of go through some of those like big, like monumental bands in the scenes and just go through like each album, just kind of spend like an entire week going through like one band's discography. So let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that, because I feel like that would be a fun, like, time capsule of music greatness, you know. So we'll be I'll be cooking some shit up. So that's the vibes here. But um the last question I have for you, Zach, I've been asking all of my interviewers over this past year, and I probably will just kind of continue this as just a question I love asking now. Um, Obviously we had a great time joking around, shooting the shit, learning about the band. But at the end of the day, everybody that is any sort of musical project is, a person. They have their lives, they do the normal shit that everybody else does. But why is music such an important thing in your life, in order, enough to start a band and like want to be, a musician, and obviously write the lyrics, scream, do all that sort of stuff? What kind of motivates you or gives you that drive to want to be a musician and to play music for other people?
Well, it just comes, I would say, from that artistic drive.
Mhm.
Like you could ask any musician that's worth their shit, like, why do you play music? It's the best and maybe the only way we can properly express ourselves. And me personally, like, I've never been good at expressing myself, like, in a non musical setting. Like, I've always been artistic, like, I've always, like, had an interest in, like, drawing and writing and stuff. But, like, once, like, the musical whatever in my brain started, turning and all the gears started turning, I was like, all right, this makes sense for me. This is right for me, and it feels right. And the motivation just comes from, trying to express myself to the fullest of my abilities, artistically, creatively, and mentally, physically, whatever. And also, like, this is my thing with En Masse or whatever musical project I'm in, but specifically En Masse, I was talking about En Masse, is that I don't necessarily give a shit who likes us, who doesn't like us. If you like us, great. My goal will always be, at the end of the day, whatever happens with the band, is that if I can make at least one person feel the way I do when I listen to a song that I love or a band that I love,
Mhm.
then my job is done at the end of the day. Like, if I can give somebody, like, if I can transfer that motivation onto somebody else who may not be in the musical sphere, or that may be going through whatever in their life, if I can make them feel something, if I can, like, get something out of them that makes them be like, oh, I feel better, I feel good, then, like I said, my job is done at the end
Mhm.
of the day. And, like, I that's all I can ask for. Like, if the band breaks up tomorrow, we'll at least have the record,
Yeah.
and people will find it, people will listen to it. If it resonates with people 5 years from now, that's fucking great. But if it's just one person, then I'm satisfied.
Yeah, and that's, I have to say, like, every answer that I've been given is such a cool. I think it's cool to see different perspectives on, music, cuz like everybody enjoys music for a different reason, but I think we all kind of collectively agree is that, the music that people make has an impact. Like, that's why I decided to interview bands, and I imagine, Zach, that's why you started making music, because there's been other bands in your life that
Right.
have had an impact on you. So, I always love that, and I definitely try to highlight that a lot within doing the channel and this, because I think it's, it music and artistry has had such a really big impact on what I do and why I continue to do it, and I love seeing people, really motivated about what they do, because I think sometimes, we just kind of like go through life and just do the shit, and we wake up and you know just live normal lives. And I think that music allows that level of like escapism that, depending
Absolutely.
upon however much time it is, you can escape in that time frame and be like, I want to be here, and I want to be able to revel in those moments of like, having that emotional connection with, whether you're seeing a live show or if you're watching, like someone playing a live set, like at like, at a concert somewhere else or whatever. Like, it's it strikes up that emotion, and I feel like with En Masse, like that was kind of like one of the most initial things that I felt was just like the emotional connection to it, and just also the fact that the music is fucking sick as well. I think
Thank
those
you,
two
thank
things coupled together, like it's really cool. And like I said, I can't recommend this band enough. You need to go give them some love, and much like all of the other bands I have here on the channel. But I do genuinely feel like if you haven't given En Masse a listen, what are you doing? Now
What
what
are
are
you
you doing?
doing?
What are you
Go on
doing?
Spotify, go on Apple Music, title it, type in our name, and fucking listen to us. We need more listeners.
We need to get those
We
Spotify numbers up,
exactly.
but
Exactly. I need my 5 cents.
well, you'll be getting your 5 cents, Zach, because it's the perfect segue into the last thing, the most important thing. Tell the people where they can find En Masse at, what you guys have coming up in the next couple months, and anything else you would like to plug or talk about.
Absolutely. First and foremost, our debut LP, Burden Youth, is out January 13th on Afira
Woo!
Records, and it will drop at midnight, so you can listen to it. Spotify, Tidal, Apple, all that shit. You'll be able to find it. Um, as far as everything else, we're just working on getting the record out, focused on rolling that out and rehearsing the record. So when it's time to play shows again, we'll come out the gate swinging and hopefully play like a record release show where we could play the album in full, fingers crossed, and then see whatever else gets offered amongst the horizons. Maybe like a little run with our friends in Arms Like Roses, or Down with Rent, another sick band. Check them out. Other than that, yeah, I would just say like thank you, Brandon, for interviewing me. Thank you, Tom, for sending me your way. Shout out to Tom. Shout out to Arms Like Roses. Um, yeah, and thank you for listening to my band, my post hardcore band. I'm a grown man in a post hardcore band. Thank you. And whoever watches this, thank you for taking an interest in listening to me ramble for about an hour, and thank you for listening to En Masse.
There we go.
The definition of En Masse is all together. So
Hey,
what's mine? Yours. So
there we go.
it's us.
We love it, so go check out En Masse again. Massive shouts to Tom, Arms Like Roses. They're gonna be coming back on the channel at some point, so
Hell
best believe we'll have another great conversation with them. But for the time being, while now you're waiting, go check out En Masse. I'll leave all applicable links in the description. If you can go pick up merch, I know I saw on their Instagram, they got some sick merch. So if you want to go pick that up and
got
support
some
them,
shirts on our band.
shit, go support them, go
Use
pick it up,
Reds.
just so I can get that Devil May Cry shirt, quicker in action, just
It's gonna
guys.
happen. It's gonna happen.
So I'm just telling you, if you buy out their stock of merch now, then they're gonna have no choice but to, go back to the drawing board, and then, release that sick shirt idea. So, I'm just telling you, and just a suggestion. Much like I'm suggesting you to go check out En Masse. And very excited for the new album. Probably will be doing some sort of live stream, reacting to the entire thing. So come hang out with me. Would love to know what your thoughts are, and you should again go pick it up, go pre-order it, go pre-save it, all of those things the kids do. I don't know, I'm fucking old, so go do that shit. And if you enjoyed this interview, share it, like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. It'll also be out on audio format on Spotify, Apple Music, all that sort of stuff. I've just been kind of going through the paces of getting 7 years worth of interviews up onto audio format, so it's been it's been a little bit of a work in progress, but I will have all of the newer episodes out in the new year, so those will all be up. So go check those out, and then let me know which older ones you'd love me to throw up on the audio. So, but yeah, thanks a lot. Also, thanks to Zach for being the last
Thank
recorded
you.
interview of
That's right. They say
2022.
save the best for last.
Save
Let's
the best
fucking
for last, baby.
go.
Fucking let's go. Check out En Masse. Don't be an idiot. I'm just saying, I foresee some good shit happening in 2023 for En Masse. So please Go give him
Let's
some love.
go.
Go give him some support. And guys, thank you for watching, and huge thanks to Zach for coming on and hanging out with me tonight.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.